What up, you guys? Your boy the Scientist, and today we're going to be talking about the Breakfast Club interview with Charlamagne and Monique. Now, first, I didn't really want to discuss it, not because I didn't thought it was dope, I thought it was cool and interesting and whatever, but I felt like, everybody's going to talk about it, and I felt like these were one of those conversations that you can, have for, 6 hours long, and, you're still not gonna, nobody's gonna come to, any point of reasoning with one another. You just have an opinion, and that's it, and that's just what it is, and it is what it is. But everybody's talking about it, and I need the views and all that other shit, so I guess I'll give my 2 cents on it. Now, I mostly agree with Charlamagne, but that's more because, look, in this interview, Charlamagne is sort of like the realist, and Monique is sort of like the progressive dreamer, the person who has certain goals or whatever. And Charlamagne is pretty much just saying, look, you're not that popping right now, so they're not gonna give you that money. That's pretty much what it is. If you were popping right now, you would have gotten it, but you're not, so you shouldn't be. And Monique is saying, I don't have to be popping. I've been doing this for years and years and years, and why can't I get or why can't I deserve millions of dollars just because of what I did? If I give you guys the work, if my Oscar nominated ass comes on your Netflix show, you should be very grateful for that, and you guys are obviously not. And Charlamagne's saying well, what have you done for us lately? And on that, I kind of agree with Charlamagne, because look, I actually feel, because I'm saying Monique is progressive, but on the other hand, she's sort of conservative, because that's not the way the world works anymore. That's how it used to be, yes. You could, I bet you that, 7 years ago, I don't want to call Monique, but, let's say Bill Cosby, and he didn't rape anyone in this scenario, right? This is another dimension where he didn't rape anybody. If 7 to 8 years ago, he would have just come up to, any NBC or HBO or whatever, any media network, and told him yo, I want a show, and I just want it, and you guys just give it to me. He would have probably got millions. Now, I don't know, and I'm not even talking about the rape allegation. I'm just saying like him just being there. Does he have a fan base that's big enough, a mainstream fan base that's so huge that they're gonna give him millions for it? Probably not, because he's not gonna give them that money. You know what I mean? He's still a legend, but that doesn't mean that he can get that money in. So that's a problem. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's about making money. On the other hand, she's saying it's a race issue, and that's kind of hard, because it's sort of hard to tell, because we don't have anything else to base it on, pretty much. But she did give a really sort of a good counter argument, if you ask me. She said yo, if Meryl Streep comes on here and she wants something, you guys are gonna give it to her, just because she's Meryl Streep. And I'm just as Meryl Streep is a nominated person. Me too. I'm a legend just like Meryl Streep. So why can't I get this and that and the third? I thought that was a really good point, because I don't really know what Meryl Streep would have gotten, but I'm pretty sure that most people, that if I asked a random dude on the street, who is more important in cinema, Meryl Streep or Monique, everybody would say Meryl Streep. And why? Really, is that really the right answer? Does she have a bigger film catalog? She might has, but when it comes to really important films, they both have a couple on their belt. So they're pretty much, I feel like Monique and Meryl Streep are pretty much the same. Monique did Precious, and Meryl Streep did a lot of cool stuff, but she also did The Devil Wears Prada, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's also just a flick or whatever. You know what I mean? So I agree with her on that, but I still don't know, because there's one thing that I thought Charlamagne made a really good point with, which I thought was ridiculous. Because we're talking with these two people, Monique and her manager, who's also her husband, I figured. And, they're not completely on the same page, but, I guess they're pretty much on the same page. And the guy, and I felt like the husband, was actually being a pretty cool guy. Everybody's saying he's very hard to work with, blah, blah. I don't think you could tell in the interview, honestly. I thought he was, the only one, saying every 6 minutes, oh, you make a good point, blah, 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 blah. But, Charlamagne talked to them about the counter offer, and eventually we sort of found out that they didn't give a counter offer. So they're giving her, they're saying they're giving her $500,000. which I think is a point to Monique, because that is way too. That's not enough for Monique, not at all. Like, of course you're gonna reject, but if you're not gonna give them a counter offer, that is really dumb. Like, that's how this whole thing works. Always, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, are you too uppity to give somebody a counter offer? Are you too uppity for that? That's that's just way too crazy for me to even consider that. That you're like, I don't think there's a person on this planet. Like, I think Drake gives people counter offers, or Jack Nicholson or Morgan Freeman or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter how big you give somebody. Like, people are gonna want to get good deals, so they're gonna try to give the deals that are the best for themselves to you. Of course, 500,000 is way too. Nah, I mean, she should at least get $1 million, at least. Like, you know what I mean? 500,000 is not enough at all. But like they said, just fucking counter offer. When they say 100,000, you just say, okay, 11 million here, and we're just gonna find somewhere in the middle. That's the only way to do it. And another thing, she compares herself to Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, and then she admits that she can't sell out the Garden, pretty much, and they can. So, like, how are you comparing yourself to them? I mean, of course you can say you're comparing yourself to them because you're a comedian just like them, you're a black comedian or whatever. But how are you comparing them to them? They're saying you're the same when they can sell out stuff you can't. That just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you're a legend, and that doesn't make any difference. But if they can do certain things you can't, then people are gonna want them more than you. That's just how the game goes. You know what I mean? But at the end of the entire thing, through the entire thing, not even at the end, just through the entire video, she does make a good point, but keeps saying, like, if I'm gonna accept this offer, then I'm gonna set that standard for other young black women like me in the coming years. And she's completely right about that. You could have given a counter offer, by the way, like that. That could have maybe also helped, but that's true. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna lowball yourself, then you might set that standard for other people. So in that sense, we have to thank Monique for being stuck up and having the courage to say fuck no, and going out there and saying her story to everyone. So I think that's dope just on itself. Like, I saw her standing in the Breakfast Club, and I was like, she is sort of brave in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, how many people are going to sit here and everybody tells them that they're crazy and they're spoiled and fuck them? And they're like, no. Like, I do have a point. And she does have some points. It's not that she doesn't have any points. Business isn't that easy, where it's just like, oh, she's crazy and the rest is normal. Or she's normal and the rest is crazy. So, it is what it is. I think at this time that we are at right now, Charlamagne is undoubtedly right. And I think Monique and her husband sort of pretty much admitted that there in the clip, in the interview. But I think that they're sort of like looking at a better future sort of thing. And that's sort of what they're speaking out about, and blah, 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 blah. And I wish them nothing but the best. Okay, it's your boy The Scientist. Comment, like, subscribe. Peace.